You came into this year with big goals, but you're not where you want to be yet. And I know exactly why. I've made this same mistake myself for months, and without fixing this thing, you can continue wanting and dreaming for more without ever moving out of your spot to go get it. And that's what happened to me like a couple months ago. I have been wanting to get into basketball for so long. And I kept saying the goal that this is my hobby. I want to take my hobby seriously. I'm going to start hooping. I'm going to get better. But I never did. That was my goal, though, to get better at basketball. But it wasn't until I told myself, okay, well, I've been wanting the ball and I haven't for such a while, even though I want to. What if instead of saying I want to just, go bowling, what if I said I want to do around the world, that game where you shoot from different, points around the goal? What if I said I want to do around the world in less than 10 minutes? And just like that, I have been out on the court consistently. Like, I went out today to go shooting and I couldn't because my shoulder, like, I'm at that point where my body is telling me you need to rest. So unfortunately I'm not balling today. But do you see the difference between me saying I want to start hooping, or I want to start hooping, and then so much time going by I'm not doing it, to me saying I want to do around the world in 10 minutes, to me now consistently going to the basketball court where now my shoulder is hurting. Like, that is what you're missing, a very specific goal, right? Now imagine I came up to you and I told you everything that you ever wanted in life is somewhere and you can get it. It's somewhere and you can get it. Would you go out of your way to find it? Even though you want it, would you have a drive to okay, yeah, I'm gonna find it? No, because you have no clue where it's at. It's so vague. Yeah, okay, this is something that's cool. I would want this because it's everything I ever wanted. But you have no clue where it is. You have no clue where to go. You have no hints. You have nothing. So you're not gonna have that drive. Okay, let me lock in. Now imagine I came up to you and told you everything you ever wanted is here on this map. And you take the map and you see the journey is long and arduous, and it is going to challenge every part of you. Would you feel driven to go? Yes. Why? Because you know where to go. And it doesn't matter how hard or how much effort it's going to take, how challenging it's going to be. You can put in the hard work. You can persevere. You can get through it because you know that you know where to go. You know where to go. You have the end point. It's more specific. It's not saying, oh, it's anywhere. It's there. So now you can kind of really see that if you have a vague goal, you can want all your life, but you're not going to get it because it's vague. But the moment you make that goal more specific, something will click inside of you and you'll actually do what it takes to reach that goal. So you have a choice. You can keep living with vague goals and continue to set the type of goals you've been setting and not see any progress. You can do that. Or you can start setting more specific goals that will trigger something in you to get to work. And the choice is yours. I'm just here to give you information and to take a sip of water. Ultimately, though, no one who's ever achieved greatness in life got there without a plan. They had a plan. They were intentional about how they were going to reach their success. And if you want to be like that person who reaches success, then you have to be intentional as well. And setting specific goals is literally the foundation for being more intentional. So how do we set better goals, more specific goals? Well, first, I want you to follow along with me. I actually want you to do this stuff as I'm suggesting it because it's so important. And if you watch this all the way to the end, you're not going to go back and do it. So please follow along and do this stuff with me. So first thing I want you to do is get very specific about the goal you want to achieve. And to do this, you want to set a number to it with a time goal. So for example, with YouTube, my goal is to upload 5 videos, a number, by the end of Sunday. Time deadline. So the number goal is something I can measure. If I do 5 videos a week, that means I've met the goal. The deadline tells me that this isn't something I can do whenever I feel like it. This is something that has to get done every Sunday. And so that triggers me to put in the work to do, like, make content. But if I just had the goal of make YouTube videos, I would not be as driven as I am now. Like, I would want to, but I'm like, okay, I'll get around to it. I'll get around to it later. But because I have the 5 videos every Sunday, it's like, okay, I have to log in every morning. I need to spend at least 2 hours because you get 5 videos. I need to have 5 talking pointers. I need to have 5 thumbnails. I have to be able to edit it. Like, there's different things. Like, I'm looking at the problem a lot differently and I'm more engaged because it's more specific. Okay, so right now, pause the video and think about what is something you want to do and how can you put a number to it that you can measure and a time deadline. And then another example I can give you is me saying I want to do around the world. That is a behavior. And I don't really need a number to it because it's like it's pretty much everything. Like, around the world, I can measure, because ultimately you want to be able to measure your progress, and putting a number is the best way to measure it. But if there's not really a number you can put because this thing you're doing is just self-measurable, then you don't need to put a number. That's like a nuance I didn't even know we were gonna cross, but it's important that it's out there. But regardless, another example, do around the world in less than 10 minutes. So that's, and maybe that 10 minutes could also be a measure and a deadline. So it's very nuanced, goal setting and all that stuff, but hopefully that gives you some examples. And if you're really struggling to set a goal, literally just go ask ChatGPT. But right now, pause the video and set a goal, okay? So now that you've set a goal, you see how I sat back a little bit, let you do your thing. Hopefully you set it. Now that you set your goal, the next step is to look through it and pick no more than 3 actions you can take to make the most progress on that goal. And most times, you're not even gonna get to 3 behaviors. It'll probably be just 1 or 2. So what do you think the behavior is for me when it comes to YouTube? Because, like I said, my goal is to upload 5 videos every Sunday. So the behavior to doing that is 1, writing my bullet points, 2, recording videos, and 3, uploading the videos. Now, notice I didn't put thumbnails have to be made, because they don't have to. Like, I don't have to make thumbnails. That's just something I choose to do, but I don't have to make it. So it's not like a crucial behavior. Now, with shooting basketballs and doing shooting around the world, what's the behavior I need to do? Shoot. It's not hard. It's not hard to come up with behaviors. And if you really need help, go ask ChatGPT. But you probably won't need to. Now, I want to see how serious you are. I want you to write down in the comments the goal you wrote that has a number or just a way to measure it with a deadline, and the behaviors you're going to do to ensure you work on that goal. Okay? Put that in the comments. And if you wrote this on your notes, then take a screenshot and make that as your wallpaper. But if you wrote it on paper, then put that paper somewhere you can see it every day. I have my goals up here so that every morning I come in my office and look at it, and at night I come back to update it. So I'm looking at it. Like, you want to constantly look at your goals so that stays on your mind, because if it stays on your mind, is usually what gets acted upon. I will recommend that you don't set the bar too high with the behaviors you wrote down. So, for example, when I was first shooting basketball, or just shooting hoops, practicing basketball, the goal wasn't to be out there for too long. I literally would go out there for like 2 minutes. You hear my cat? Hold on, let me go soothe him. Okay, I'm back. He just wanted some attention. He might come back. If he does, I might have to, I don't know, I might have to let him in here. But like I was saying, you don't want to set the bar too high, at least for the first week. Aim to do the behavior you wrote for like 2 minutes. I would go out to the basketball court and shoot for 2 minutes and then go back, because you want to build a momentum of showing up for that new behavior. before you start adding on more time. Once I started showing up consistently to basketball for those 2 minutes, that was when I knew I could stay out there for 30 minutes. That's when I knew I could push that time out. So you'll know when it's ready for you to push that time out. But when you're having lazy days and you don't feel like doing that thing, then just say, let me at least do 2 minutes, because you want to keep that momentum going over everything else. I also recommend that whatever behavior you wrote, you're gonna move what you need closer to you and move away distractions. So, for example, if you said you wanted to complete a puzzle, right? You want to make sure that puzzle is out in the open where you can easily get started on it, where you're gonna see it and you'll get started doing it. Maybe you said you want to cook some chicken, right? Well, make sure that chicken is in your refrigerator at the very front so that you don't have to think too much. You open the refrigerator, you see it, you can start cooking, right? And then moving distractions away. For me, the biggest thing is my phone. And so I deleted all the apps off my homepage. Not off my phone, but off the homepage. So to open up my phone, I'm not immediately pulled to click on the icon that's going to distract me. I have to actually think about what I want to use my phone for, so I'm much more intentional. So just look at things that are kind of pulling you away from what you want to do, and ask yourself, how can I put distance between it and the things that you want to do? How can you move it closer to you? Now, what if you make this goal and you figure out the behaviors you want to do, but nothing changes for you? Like you're still wasting time. You're still not putting in that work. Chances are you just don't have a plan. And if you don't, then just run through this formula. And I highly recommend everybody run your behavior through this formula to make sure you do it. And so basically what it states is, I will do this behavior at an event or time at environment, something like that, right? So when you have that, just fill in the blanks. So for example, I will play basketball after breakfast for 30 minutes at the basketball court. So I had the behavior I'm going to do, I had the time and where I'm going to be at when I do it, and I had the environment I'm going to do it at. But recording videos, I used to have, or I'll do writing. I used to put, I will go into my office and write for 1 hour before I eat breakfast. So now that behavior is tied to something. And so I really recommend that you do this. This is called implementation intentions, and this actually has been studied and is known to work and be more effective in influencing your behavior. So make your own implementation intention, and I will challenge you to put that in the comments as well, just to see, are you serious about what you want to do? Do you really want to put this work in? Or are you just a poser that just watches videos just to say, oh, I'll get to it later? Like, you just get information, but that's it. Like, make that information work for you and put some action into it. And I'm telling you, if you don't have your goals set, if you don't make the behaviors you want to do, if you don't make a plan for doing those behaviors, as like anal as that sounds, and you might not feel like it needs to be done, I can promise you, you will continue to not make progress on anything. You're not going to achieve your goals. And that's the last thing I want for you. But if you did create your goals and your behaviors and you made a plan, or if you didn't make anything but just a starting point of a more specific plan, you will see changes happening in your behavior. There are so many small things that can influence our behavior, and there are so many people out here trying to influence our behavior. So why not take control in our own hands and intentionally influence our behavior too? You can do that. And that's just a superpower that most people aren't aware of. Now, if you're serious about reaching your goals and living to your highest potential, then subscribe, because I make videos all designed to push you to your highest potential. And I'll see you for the next one.